Hello everybody, how you doing? So, you can see the Trxx4m sitting back there, and if you watched my first run video, I said it was all Fern Solo's fault, and it's time to get to that. So, Fern Solo had bought this Beast Mode RC chassis, and I'd never heard of it before. I just thought it was pretty cool looking, and I commented on his video. I was like, hey man, that's a pretty sweet looking chassis. And next thing I know, he's getting a hold of me and says, hey, do you like that chassis? I'll send it your way. I didn't really care for it that much, not my style. And so this bag arrived in the mail. Pull the contents out here. Couple of frame rails. The cross member. Guessing that's either a battery or electronics tray, however you want to set it up. That's my guess, at least. And this cross member here. I will have to do some research on this and see exactly how it goes. And check these out. Got his new sticker style. I like those. Those are much easier to put on different things than his previous stickers, which are also awesome, but they're a little bit on the large side. And oh, wait a second, panning up for it. Oh, there's a Fern Solo pin hanging out right up in my garage at all times. So Fern and I go back for a while. I've had a lot of fun with that guy. And he also sent this Beast Mode RC sticker. The reason it took me so long to do this video is I was waiting on my wheels to come in from Amazon, and I received an empty envelope, so I'm still waiting on those wheels, but I decided to jump forward anyway. But before I get to the rest of the parts for this Trxx4m, I want to do a quick shout out to my dude Jason over at 419 Crawlers and all of his crew. He gave me some killer stickers and a little windshield banner as well. I'll leave links to Fern's and Jason's channel. You guys go check them out if you would. They're really good guys. So the rest of the stuff I've picked up. I got this brass cross support from Amazon. We'll see if it's any good or not. Set of the Traxxas low range gears. And a full set of injora sealed bearings. That's right, folks, sealed bearings. Friendly to the water. You can go right in the water, won't hurt a thing. And I'd picked up these J Concept tires on the way home from USTE. Stopped at a Hobbytown USA and they had them, so I picked these up. These are the little landmines. And they're the soft, oh, you can hear them. It's just sticking to the side of the bag in there. So those ought to be pretty grippy. They're just a tiny bit smaller than what's on there now. But no big deal. I have so many different sets of wheels and tires. If I don't like them, we'll switch out to something else. So, got my handy dandy stand back there. Just popping the front off this Trxx4m. So I have to figure out how all of this goes in here. And I'm going to get on that, and I'll just kind of give you some updates along the way, and we'll figure it out as we go. And more parts may even arrive in the mail before I even get done. Okay, so I've got it all apart. Got a little bit of a mess on my hands, but everything's all back and divided up so I can put it all back together. But first, before I do that, I need to get these injora bearings out, and I put the Traxxas bearings in my other Trxx4m, so it'll be nice to run these and see how they compare. And the low range gears, but I'm just going to do that off camera because I've already done a video on that with the Defender. So let me get that done and I'll get back with you. Well, I have the transmission apart. And I thought I'd mention real quick, these injora bearings are really nice. They come individually packaged, so you have them all separated, and an actually really excellent set of instructions. I just thought that was pretty cool, and I'd share that with you real quick. Another little habit I've gotten into is testing my gearbox before I reinstall it. It saves a whole lot of trouble if you have a problem and can spot it now than when you have to take it completely back out again. Oh man, we're off to the races. So I have installed all the bearings. They went pretty smoothly, no problems. The bearings fit really nice, so those injora bearings are pretty cool. All my leftover pucks I'll use as spacers for other projects. But we have our front steering linkage. And here's our stock Traxxas one, and we're replacing it with this RC Lions brass one. And I think these came in right around like 12, 13 bucks. And they just have the little eyelets with the rubber gaskets you put through there. I'll zoom in a little bit so you get a little bit nicer look at it. So a nice solid chunky piece of brass. So that easy install. I'm going to get that popped in, and we will start getting it up on the chassis. So I've started bolting it into the rails, and apologize for any of the noise. I got 3D printers running non-stop. And so far, no fitment issues whatsoever. Everything's been fitting in place just fine, and I just wanted to do one side just so I could show everybody how it goes together, because there was no instructions. I went to Beast Mode RC, and I couldn't find this chassis, and I've been able to find very little information on it, so I'm just kind of winging it here, and luckily everything seems to line up right. I was concerned about the bumpers. I didn't know for sure if they'd fit in there well or not, but so far they seem to be fitting right in, no problem. They just one screw there, and that does it. I'm going to put the other side on and start linking stuff up. Hopefully my steel drive shaft should be in the mail tomorrow, and I can finish this thing up. Most everything is bolted back in place. It all fit fairly nice. I don't really have a whole lot of complaints about how everything bolted together on this one. It lined up. I didn't really have to struggle with any of the screws. And I was kind of wondering if I was going to be able to use the stock hardware, because this is such a thick rail. And so far so good. The other thing I was wondering about was just how well the body would snap in, how they did with those measurements. So check this out. It snaps right on there. So excellent. I'm just waiting on my drive shafts and hopefully my wheels, but who knows when the wheels will show up. But the drive shaft should be here tomorrow for me, pretty much instantaneously for you guys. So I will catch you on that section, and we will be just about done. Mail has arrived. So the injora drive shafts have gotten here. Give them a quick look over. Mountain hardware. There's our drive shafts. They don't feel too bad. Certainly feel better than the stock ones. I'm going to get these put on, bolt the rest of this up. Unfortunately, won't be able to do the wheels and tires because the wheels still have not arrived. Here lately, I've been kind of having that problem with Prime. It's supposed to be 2-day delivery. Might show up within a week if you're lucky. But alright, let me get these bolted up, and we should be good enough for a bench test at least. So I've reached the end of the build. Everything is together and working. The only issues I had was a lot of it was shock placement. Shock placement and shock hardware. It's something that I wish these companies would do, and this is a problem that Fern gave me a heads up on before I even started building, was the shock mounting. So they don't include any hardware for your shocks. And when you remove your stock shocks, there's no nut on the other side. It just goes into a piece of plastic. And it's kind of an oddball sized hardware. And I didn't have, I had plenty of M3s, but not much smaller than that. Besides the SCX24 stuff, which is way too small. I did end up I found mixed matched hardware because I do have a lot of spare hardware. But if you don't have any spare hardware on hand, you would really be out of luck trying to do this. You'd have to wait till you got more hardware in order to finish your build. So I wish these companies with the carbon fiber chassis, and I've ran into this on 3 different companies now, and I'm not trying to bash down on any of these companies. It's just, if you're going to give us something that is supposed to be able to take our stock hardware and stock parts, if there's any additional hardware that needs to be added in order to make that work, it'd be really nice if they included that in the kit. Like just the proper shock spacers, screws, and nuts would have been enough to make this whole build an hour or less, because I wouldn't have had to search down stuff. And the other thing is, since this is technically a wider chassis, if you look, the spacing on the shocks, they actually kind of dip in a little bit in like kind of a V shape. So there's going to be some adjustments to be done, but overall I'm really happy with how it turned out and came together. And I set up a little test course here, and this is going to need, I think we're going to need some different shocks, because this has a whole lot more potential for flex than I can give it with the stock shocks that are on it. Let me go plug that in. Oh yeah, we're all moving good. Oh, I'll come across this first one and show you. I mean, it drives really nice. I really like the chassis. I think the chassis is going to be excellent in the long run, but I'm going to have to get some different shocks and probably maybe some other hardware to go with it. Of course, the low range gears helped out immensely when it comes to the Trxxas 4m. Back up over it here, and we'll kind of go across the other one too. I can get all the way around there or not. Get lined up a little better. The gearing seemed to be smooth. The bearings seem to be smooth. The drive shaft is really smooth. This one's got a higher arc, and as you can see, we had the back wheel lifted up off the ground, and with the amount of mounting options on this, I'd like to really be able to go over something like this without keeping all the other 3 wheels on the ground. And I think it's mostly just a shock issue, because the stock shocks are a little bit on the stiff side. They don't collapse quite like I would like them to. You can see they kind of slowly let it come down. Let me pop the body on. Now, part of the shock placement and the reason I had to place it this way was because of the stock body. I wanted to be able to run that body, and if I moved these in any other different position, the body's set on level. So the front end mostly was sitting up higher than the rest of it, but there we go. You see, that's decently level there. There we go. So it is working with the body, and that was one of the things I really wanted to make sure it worked with, was the body. Because the way they have these quick clips, I just didn't want to give that up. Come across this back one more time. Those low range gears are, I think, one of the best things you can do to a Trxxas 4m. But okay, I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this build and wrap up, I look like I got myself in a corner here. I'm going to wrap up the build and wrap up this first section of upgrades. I'd really like to thank Fern, man. That was so cool of you to send me this chassis. It's really awesome that just because it was something that didn't work out quite right for you, that you decided to send it to a friend. That's just a really cool thing to do. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. A huge thank you to Fern. And I will leave links to all the parts in the description below, minus the chassis, because I literally cannot find the chassis on their website. It may be back on there in the future, but as of right this moment, it is not on there. So I will leave all the injora parts and all the little brass parts and stuff I used. And I'm also going to leave a link to Fern's channel below. And I'm going to throw a link into 419 Crawlers if you guys want to go check Jason out. And they're a great bunch of guys over there. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to catch you on the next video. Have a great day.